Okay, Phil. So you brought an audio clip with you. I understand that this is a real radio call of a dustoff hoist mission. Tell us about it.
Well, this is dustoff 3-3. They are going in to pick up a down Huey crew. They have been found by the ground unit, and so the dustoff aircraft is going in to pick up the down crew. We've got some gunships that are in the area. The pilots are going to be talking to the guys on the ground. They're going to be talking to the gunships, and they're going to be talking to the crew in the back operating the hoist. You're going to be hearing 3 radios off and on during the whole clip.
So now we're going to play pieces of that clip.
Yeah, all right. Negative, sir, on my side. I got this smoke. I think it's coming out here at my left door, about 25 to 30 meters.
Watch my tail, because I'm low.
Okay, sir, your tail will be clear.
Your tail's clear, all right.
Okay.
Now, what you're hearing there, the loudest is the crewman in the back. I think it's the crew chief, but both the crew chief and the medic were capable of operating the hoist. But that aircraft is settling down in the trees as close as they can get to the trees to make as small a target as possible, because the enemy could just shoot at the sound. They may not be able to see us, but they could shoot at the sound. So the crew is keeping the tail rotor of the aircraft clear and positioning the aircraft over the down crew so they can drop the hoist to them.
We're going to play another.
You're looking real good. All right. No sweat.
You look good on your left, sir.
Your tail's clear. Your main rotor's clear. Just keep this altitude.
You guys want to put 2 up on at once or 1 at a time?
All right, what do we got here? Double extraction?
Well, yeah, the crew has got the hoist dropped down. The crewman's asking the pilot, "You want 1 or 2 on the hoist on the general? Wow, can't even talk. Jungle penetrator or not?" Because they're lifting about 400 or 500 pounds, and that affects the center of gravity of the aircraft. So again, that pilot is very demanding, keeping that aircraft in one spot. And if you notice on the photo that's on the screen, it looks like the nose of the aircraft is on a tree branch, and it probably is. That's how the pilot is helping himself maintain his position.
Right, there you go. Right, instead of drifting. Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay, Matt, you got another clip?
The trees are moving around a lot with no sweat. We take any fire, I'll let you know what direction we take it from. It's going to be pretty hard to tell how far, because I can't even see the ground from where I'm sitting.
Okay, real fine. I expect if you do, it'll be from the November.
All right,
That's
that was
crazy.
the pilot. I'm sorry,
That's
go ahead.
amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, that was the pilot telling the gunship, if we start taking fire, we're going to tell you where it's from. But the gunship says, well, we can't see any ground, so if you go down, we're not going to know where you're at. You're going to have to let us know. Right. So not only, again, are the pilots listening to the crew, keeping them positioned, they're also talking to the gunship pilots. And also they're talking to the guys on the ground, too. But mostly the loudest voice that you hear is probably the crew chief.
And how you doing there, Tracer?
That was a 16.
Yeah, we're doing real well.
It's clear.
Understand you're bringing 3 or 4 out.
I have 2
We're going to bring all 4
right. Okay, outstanding.
You're clear on your left.
You're clear on the right. Main rotor's clear. Tail rotor's clear.
If you guys, why don't you put 1 up in a hellhole?
Oh, Roger, sir. I had this first one come around by me.
If you don't have a rifle, you can have mine.
I'll give you mine, sir. I'm not here on the skids. I can't use it anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
wow.
Yeah. So the pilot told the crew to put the first guy up in the hellhole. That's the other side of the aircraft, at the back of the aircraft, to counterbalance the guys that are being pulled up on the penetrator, up on the hoist. So they're trying to keep the aircraft balanced. And again, you've got 2 or 3 voices going in your head at any one time.
Okay, sir, I think they're going to put 2 on this time. We'll try.
Okay, now hold it when you break ground, okay? And I'll tell you to bring them all the way up, rest of the way up. Break about 3 feet.
You want him up, come up about 3 feet?
Right, and then hold it there, and then I'll tell you to bring it all the way up.
Roger, will do.
Okay, is it making sense to you yet, Ronnie?
Sure is.
Well, so what the pilot told the guys in the back was just pick up. They've got 2 on the jungle penetrator now. He says just pick them up just a few feet off the ground, so I can make sure that I can hold the center of gravity and make sure I've got enough power in the engine just to bring them on up into the aircraft.
Yeah, that was pretty soft. That was out. That was going. That was easy to understand. Next one.
Okay, so we got him on board.
That's all 3-3 in the air, all in the aircraft this time. 3-3, roger, and we're on our way out.
Okay, picked them up and ready to go.
Yeah, I called the gunships. Concert 33, or I'm sorry, I didn't catch all the number, but Concert was the gunship, and he says, "Okay, we're coming out, and we've got everybody on board, and we're on our way. We're done."
That's terrific. One more clip.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, sir. Yeah, tail rotor strike, sir.
Tail rotor strike?
Main rotor. Was it main rotor?
Main rotor.
Oh, they received fire at once, sir. It looked like we received fire.
That sounded like trees.
They were still shooting when we left.
Okay.
I couldn't say for sure.
Concert 3-2, dustoff 3-3.
I'll go.
Roger. Either we had a blade strike coming out or they were shooting at us.
Roger that. I wouldn't be surprised if they shoot at you. Didn't get any damage?
I don't know. Aircraft seems to be all right. Makuchi says they were shooting when we started coming out.
Roger that. If you like, I can escort you along.
It's 3-3. Okay. If you're no longer needed in the area, we'd sure appreciate it.
Yeah, but you notice how calm they were. We're taking fire. No big deal. It was a big strike. Did we damage your aircraft? We taking fire? Well, I don't know. And they decided then that they were taking fire. So the gunship said, "Hey, you take any damage? You want us to follow you back?" And so, if you don't have anything else, that'd be great if you could follow us back.
Nothing else better to do.
It's all matter of fact. I mean, no panic.
Right.
That's your Army training. Do the job that you're trained to do. Don't panic. Just get it done, and everything calm, matter of fact, and you just saved 5 guys' lives. But no big deal.
Yeah, fulfill the mission. Right.
Yeah, by the mission. Yeah, thank you. I put together. Of course, I've come up with 15 books, working on number 16 of the rescue missions that we flew in Vietnam, the helicopter rescues, and I took what I call the top 20. And the Helicopter Whisperers, 8.5 by 11. It's over 400 pages. There's at least 20 missions in there, or there are 20 missions. And that's, what am I trying to say? The title came from the dedication to the book. The last sentence says, "We whispered to those helicopters, this is what I need you to do. Don't fail me." So we talked to our helicopters as we were doing these missions. Yeah,
I used to do that when I got on my motorcycle. It should get me home tonight.
I believe it.
That was unbelievable. All right. First question or comment. Marie Kenneman. There's tricks in flying in hot LZ zones. We're not getting too high above the tree lines.
Okay, well, not getting too high. I mean, we would really be just skimming the tops of the trees. And if we had some open terrain, we're down just a foot or two above the open terrain, just trying to make ourselves as small or an elusive a target as possible.
That's it.
And again, we're going as fast as we can usually until we get to the landing zone. We've got the smoke spotted. We don't fly over the LZ and say, there's a good place to land or whatever. As soon as we see that smoke, that's where we're headed, and that ground guide's got his weapon over his head.
You got it.
My feeling was that when I landed, I would land so close to the ground guide that he could reach out and touch the nose of the aircraft. So I figured if it was safe enough for him to stand there, that's where I want to land. And I literally, the ability of the pilots and the aircraft that we could do that we could put that puppy right up to your nose, just as nice and smooth, and just might even make us take a step back if we felt like it, just make sure that we were in a good spot.
Do you know everyone in the infantry unit wanted to run out there and have their rifle up like that, bringing those choppers
Really? Isn't that kind of vulnerable?
No, it didn't matter, man.
It's got to be a rush, though. It's got to be a rush.
That's what it was. Exactly right. And there's I'm going to go. It's my turn. No, it's my turn. I swear.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's cool to know. That's cool to know.
That's right.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of that, real quick, one fellow that I quoted in one of my books said, we were probably braver than we should have been because we knew you guys would be there for us.
Veterans Guardian VA Claim Consulting. Thank you for this episode. No problem. Thank you very much, Veterans Guardian.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. You can tell I hate doing these.
Exactly. Right. So my question is very important in battle. In a hot LZ, so in LZ, to stay at the tree line level so the Kong wouldn't shoot at you? Well, they would shoot.
Yeah, oh, they would shoot at us, but we were just trying to make ourselves as elusive as possible. It just a lot of times all it would take just be a lucky shot. They put enough lead in the air, you know, one of them's going to find you. Yeah, you were just. I mean, we lost an awful lot of aircraft to enemy fire. We had one. It was not a medevac or a dustoff, but it was a slick support Huey that had gone out to pick up alert team, a long range patrol, and that was under fire. And it was just really hot, and the pilot didn't really want to go in because, you know, you got an aircraft and 4 people on the aircraft. And so the guys on the ground, radio bag, said, you don't have any male genitalia if you don't come down and get us. So he did. He took the dare, but as they're coming out, they got hit by a rocket and everybody was lost. So you just you took your chances. The night that I was wounded, we're falling out of the sky, and I remember saying to myself, this is it, Phil. I knew we were all going to die. But the co-pilot initiated emergency procedures. He froze on the controls, and I had to take control back of the aircraft, even though I was wounded. And just by luck, we got out of it. But just very, very calmly, you said to myself, this is it, Phil. So
I hear you. Everybody has that moment over there.
Yeah, it was a job.
All right, next one.
Yeah.
Kilo, with any problems with enemy jamming the net?
A little bit, but not really. I think they were more interested in listening to our conversations and knowing that we were inbound, trying to figure out where we were coming in. One day, as we approached the LZ, I called for smoke, and 4 smokes come out. And so I called the guys on the ground. They were trying to lure us into a trap. So I called the guys on the ground. I said, okay, I got a red, a yellow, and 2 green. And they said, we're the red. So, okay. So I land at the red and avoid the other 3 because now the bad guys have told me where they are.
Right.
So we got in and out of that one without an incident. But, yeah, they definitely were listening to us. But I only remember one time that we got any kind of jamming, but we had an alternate frequency. And so, you know, to get the job done at that instant, for that mission, you could go to your alternate frequency.
So let me ask you a question. When you said there was 2 or 3, 4 radios going on at one time, they were different frequencies, right?
Well, no, we had FM, VHF, UHF, and then, of course, we could also listen to Armed Forces radio if we wanted to.
There you go.
If you're going on a long mission, you can dial in some 70s music or 60s, whatever.
Crystal well.
You had your FM was ground. Your UHF was generally Air Force aircraft. When you had bomber support or SPADs or something, napalm. And then your VHF would be within the unit for other Army aircraft. So depending on your mission, you could have 3 radios going at once, but one pilot would listen to one, and usually whoever was on the controls would listen to the other 2.
Hi, Phil. Thank you for your service. My question is, are you still flying today?
Absolutely. You betcha. I couldn't give it up. I had to for a while, but thanks for asking. I got hooked up with American Huey 369 in Peru, Indiana. We've restored 3 Vietnam Hueys back to flight. I still get to fly them today. We're restoring a 4th one back to flight, and we are building a museum, American Huey National, I'm screwing it up here, National American Huey History Museum. And we're still soliciting donations, but we're breaking ground this spring, and we don't have enough money to finish it. We got enough money to start it. We're getting kicked out of our donated hangar, so we have to have a place to house our aircraft. So that's why we're starting a little bit early. But yeah, okay. I get to fly Vietnam Hueys again. Here I am in my 70s, and I'm so thankful and do not take it for granted. And if you can come to one of our events, you can get a flight again on a Vietnam Huey. Again, it's AmericanHuey369.com.
Okay, but send that to us, and we'll put it on the Facebook pages.
All right, great. Thank you.
We'll post it on, and all our personal pages as well. Great. All right, next question. Kilo, can you explain over torquing the rotor system, and what was that? Was that something easy to do?
Yes, it was easy to do if you weren't watching the instruments. And that's what they were doing on the hoist mission, if you were able to pick it out. When he had the crew chief or medic just lift the wounded just a little bit off the ground to make sure that he didn't over torque the aircraft. If it was requiring too much power, then he would have had to have them set the genital penetrator back down, and somebody would have to get off. So to make two lifts. But over torquing the aircraft will accept up to 50 pounds of torque in the system. And what that amounts to is you can twist the guts out of it, out of the engine, transmission, rotor system if you try to pull too much power into the system. Your first indication that you've pulled too much power into the system is because the engine can't keep the rotor turning fast enough to give you lift. But also, like I say, you can damage the drivetrain of the aircraft if you go over 50 pounds of torque. And again, there's an instrument, excuse me, instrument on the panel that tells you how much torque you're pulling. Now, sometimes in an emergency situation, if you got to get your butt out of there, yeah, you might go over 50. You try to keep it at a minimum, because if you go too far over the torque limit, you could crash the aircraft. But if you do over torque the aircraft, you write it up in the logbook, and then somebody in maintenance has to inspect the aircraft to make sure that you didn't damage it. But you don't want to tear up the equipment, so you always try to keep it under 50 pounds.
Wow.
So I hope that answers your question.
No problem. What was your most challenging pickup?
Oh, absolutely.
Don't say some woman in Saigon.
No, she picked me up. Just kidding. I never made it to Saigon. We were so far north, I had to buy my uniform on the black market. Couldn't get it through regular supply chain. Now, the most challenging pickup was the night I was wounded. There was a big push going on just 1 or 2 clicks south of the DMZ, and we knew we had 3 seriously wounded. We had to go get them. It was at night. There's flares dropping down out of the sky, and I get to the area and I see 3 or 4 other aircraft flying around, and I called for strobe light from the guys on the ground, and I see 4 strobe lights. And what's going on? Well, the gunships were there, and I called them and I said, hey, which LZ do I need? I can't tell which one. Oh, I'll overfly the LZ and show you which one it is, and I'll go to flashing position lights when I go over the LZ. Oh, okay, fine, thank you. So he goes over one of the strobe lights, flashing position lights. I drop into the LZ, and they're trying to throw ammo on the aircraft. And the crew chief is going, sir, they're trying to load ammo. So coming out. So as I'm lifting off, here comes another Huey in to land right outside my door. It's a wonder we didn't hit each other, that he's landing to pick up this ammo as I'm trying to find my wounded. Finally found him. Couldn't land on the ground because tree stumps. We had to hover there while they lifted the wounded up into the aircraft. And again, all this time, we know there's bad guys around. How'd they get wounded? And so, yeah, it was touch and go. And then as we were lifting out of the landing zone with our 3 wounded on board, that was when one guy opened up and one lucky round hit me. My medic told me I stopped a bullet before it hurt somebody, which was, good for me to know. But anyway, that was definitely my most challenging pickup, because there was just so much going on there, and we were lucky we made it out.
Good for you, man. Next question.
Yeah.
Can you explain the Jesus nut?
The Jesus nut, the infamous Jesus nut. There is one huge nut that fits, that holds the rotor system onto the aircraft. And everybody calls it the Jesus nut, because if you lose that nut, all you can do is just say Jesus. And but it doesn't come off. It's torqued down. It's got safety latches on it, and it's not going to come off. However, there have been some lucky bullets that have hit the main rotor mast and caused the rotor systems to separate from the aircraft. Wow. So you can lose the rotor system. And getting back to torque, you can over torque the aircraft so bad that you could lose the rotor system.